Okay, I'm back. Had to put a new tape in. My voice is getting hoarse. We'll drink some of that. That's Diet Pepsi. Okay, I left off with tab H on the other one. On April 1st, 1974, she was told the telethon had been canceled and the foundation was going to dissolve. This she just could not believe, but it was true. The following 3 years, especially those first 3 months, were probably the worst conditions we have or will ever live under. It is at this point that we inherited, in quotation marks, an international program that was highly publicized with communities to receive a complimentary copy of her books. We had to make a very important decision. We, Dorothy and I, had over 2,000 requests for these complimentary books and had one of 3 choices to make. 1, send everyone a letter informing them the program is no longer available. This would have completely killed the program, and if we ever tried to start it again, it would have never gotten off the ground. The second thing we could have done was send everyone a letter informing them they would now have to pay $15 the print cost and mailing cost. This would indeed have turned the public sour on the program as it was advertised through the Highway Safety Foundation as free material. Number 3, send everyone their complimentary books and just say nothing. This is what we did, and really was the only decision to keep Safety Town alive and being made available to people everywhere. This was Dorothy's goal from 1964. By making the above decision, we immediately inherited approximately $8,000 print tab so the books could be printed and shipped. Well, they were printed, they just weren't released from the printer. The printer was very nice, and we are paying him off monthly. It would take pages and pages to describe the numerous other situations we inherited, which cost us money, almost all of our time and energy. We had to rely on our family and friends to help us financially, plus taking loans, as well as helping with stuffing, sorting, writing, label, indexing, and mailing those books. We immediately met with legal people, and first priority was getting Dorothy's books copyrighted, which at that point they were open stock. Then we formed a nonprofit volunteer organization with hopes that another corporation or organization would pick up where the foundation left off. However, 1974 was not the best economic year, plus other factors, and our efforts to obtain financial backing was limited. This is how the National Safety Town Center became an organization. Since funding was not available, Dorothy put her creative talents to work and designed certificates, t-shirts, coloring books, bumper stickers, games to bring in some monies. With the help mainly from the Prudential Insurance Company, some of our printing bills were absorbed, as well as financial contributions to bring together various Safety Town personnel throughout the country to discuss future plans. This was the 3-day seminar conference from Prudential. That was tab J, by the way. Consequently, today there is still a need for financial assistance. The center operates daily year-round with 2 rooms of our apartment serving as the office, and is a completely volunteer endeavor, with the exception of a full-time secretary that is paid $2 per hour. This is in 1979, folks. Plus lunch. We'd give Jackie lunch once in a while. See Progress Report, tab K. Having state, assistant district directors, and hundreds of beautiful people working for her voluntarily certainly did not occur overnight. Dorothy started building this from her first presentation. She told people, "I'll help you if you promise to help another community once you get organized." You've heard that before. To make it more official and give people a sense of belonging, Dorothy made them appropriate directors and gave them business cards, a name and printed zippered case, and official certificate after approval by our board of directors. And their names appeared on the back of our stationery. Her chain reaction continues. Her goal was a state director in each state. Sample of what state directors have accomplished, see tab L. Have her 15 years of hard work and dedication been successful? They most certainly have. 1966, approximately 12 safety towns were in operation. 1977, over 400 safety towns in operation in the United States and other countries. See National Local Radio and TV Publicity tab M. Her constant positive promotional endeavors are primarily responsible for this fantastic growth, not only through her own efforts with the media, but more so in training her people in those positive promotional methods. Mostly I have explained her work in safety and how she has inspired others to become involved, but she has done so much more for people, young and old. She gave them a feeling of being needed, giving them confidence to undertake responsibility and challenge. She generated interest in volunteer work at a time when people said volunteering was dying. She engaged volunteer and professional people to work harmoniously in education and business. See letters from corporations and organizational officials, tab N. Boy, I wish I had all those. Some of these I can remember, some I can't, but life goes on. Her books, especially the curriculum guide, are being used in numerous daycare centers, nursery schools, elementary schools, colleges and universities, and incorporated into several state departments of education and Department of Highway Safety and Public Safety. So much of what Dorothy was talking about years ago is today becoming a reality, such as how the total development of children affects their safety capabilities, the necessity of involving parents. Teaching safety is much more complex than looking both ways before crossing. To give you some idea of how enthusiastic of her enthusiasm, interest, and her involvement mushroomed within a community, and then it generated throughout the state, I have enclosed copies of letters and articles from 2 states where Safety Town was adopted by the JCs as a state project, in Pennsylvania in 73 and in New Jersey in 75. A total of 8 states have now adopted Safety Town as a state project by JCs and or JCETs. See tab O. Sorry. Another of Dorothy's success promotional endeavors was National Safety Town Week, first in 1975 on a small basis. 1976 and 77 saw a tremendous increase in interest and participation by mayors and governors. See copies of proclamations, tab P. The workshops were tremendously successful in many promotional areas. They provided an excellent opportunity for representatives from safety and civic organizations to get together to discuss which can help the other and eliminate duplication of effort. Medical profession, in majority of the cases, were not aware of preschool safety education techniques prior to being involved. After the workshops, they always commented on how little they knew in this area, and many offered to and are a part of our organization. Teachers of young children were very delighted to learn new safety teaching methods and research data, especially since there was no course in college or universities designed specifically for the safety of the young children. Fortunately, within the past few years, several colleges and universities have implemented courses, many with Dorothy's help in books. An area where Dorothy's concentrated a great deal of time doing promotional work was with the parents, for they were the ones that had to understand about their own child's development. I'm trying to read fast so it doesn't take long, but it doesn't work, and my teeth are real. Her parent-child sessions plus her parent sessions have been well received by parents throughout the country. Dorothy further involved the parents by putting together a questionnaire from which every parent could Dorothy further involved the parents by putting together a questionnaire form which every parent completed on graduation day. Samples of questionnaire, tab Q. In addition to this questionnaire, which every safety town uses, a blank questionnaire is included in the books. Parents have expressed their reactions, feelings, and appreciation by sending letters to the center and to Dorothy. These letters also explained in many cases how effective Safety Town was in preventing an accident to their child. Example, letter tab R. These parenting questionnaires were used by Dorothy to evaluate effectiveness of increasing children's safety attitudes and performance and actual prevention of accidents, which resulted in accident reduction statistics. Other questionnaires she prepared were general questionnaires, covering cost of local operation, type of instruction, and a bicycle questionnaire pertaining to use of bicycle by preschool children. Dorothy not only used this information to constantly update the material for Safety Town, but share her findings with other safety and educational personnel and organizations. Samples of each general and bicycle questionnaire, tab S. Almost done. She has indeed played a major role in convincing schools, city officials, corporation leaders, legislators, and others of the necessity of preschool and early childhood safety education. To many people, she is referred to by various names. I loved when people used to call me these: Joan of Arc, Florence Nightingale, Juliet Lowe, Henry Kissinger, Billy Graham, Ralph Nader of preschool safety education in this country and the world. I have been in education all my life and traveled extensively and do not know of another person who preached preschool safety education in the mid-60s. Today, many people are enjoying a position in the field of preschool safety education because of the groundwork she established. There is no way to determine how many lives she has directly or indirectly touched, whether it was preventing a child from being injured, helping a teenager to feel important, assist a parent with a problem, make senior citizens feel needed, helping officials to meet and talk with parents on an informal basis, etc. She touched many, many people's lives by recognizing and rewarding them with certificates and or gifts for their involvement. This is something she strongly believes in and felt that there was not enough of this type of recognition done to volunteer people. That is why since the center became an organization, every Safety Town on opening day receives 2 citations from the center, one to the sponsoring organization and one to the citizens of the town. See Sample Citations tab T. While Dorothy has thoroughly enjoyed these past 15 years of building what she calls her Safety Town family, she has indeed had her share of tears, unhappiness, and unpleasant days. Being a close family that indeed reflected on our 2 daughters, who have been a tremendous part of Safety Town. I cannot begin to count the sacrifices our daughters made. Instead of getting a new dress, that money went to help Mom pay for a trip, or the many, many times we ate sandwiches for dinner because Mom was paying for a trip. But we didn't mind because, you see, she got us involved with her movement, and we believed in what she was doing was helping to make this a better and safer world for everyone. I realize that there are many, many people who volunteer their time, some a day at their local hospital and numerous other ways. But I do not put Dorothy in that category. She is a professional volunteer. Her volunteer work is 6 to 7 days per week, 12 to 16 hours a day. This has been her entire life for the past 15 years. She gave up bridge, tennis, golf, and her social life. Any social activities are centered around Safety Town. I know this might be hard for you to believe, but it is true, and anyone who knows Dorothy will verify the above. While on our vacations which were planned around her speaking appearances, while the girls would sunbathe on the beach, Dorothy was right there, writing her books or letters. She firmly believes in not wasting time and carries a tape recorder in the car as she travels and dictates. She will indeed go down in history for numerous accomplishments, such as being the founder and president of National Safety Town Center, being the originator of the Total Preschool Safety Education Program, the new concept of Safety Town, being the first author to print material and daily curriculum for the preschool child, being the promoter and originator of using publicity and public relations in promoting her concepts in business to elected officials. She has received many certificates and tokens of appreciation from individuals and organizations which she cherishes, but her heart is closest to the letters and gifts given to her by teenagers that worked with her. Her relationship with teenagers, especially the volunteer instructors, was and is admired and envied by adults throughout the country. Her patience, ability to communicate sincere concern and interest in each of their lives are a few reasons why the teenagers respected her greatly. She constantly, and I would be correct in saying at every presentation of any kind, recognized and publicized the great work and outstanding contribution of these teenagers. Her goal for teenagers involved with Safety Town to obtain national recognition, which she has already started. She designed a national t-shirt and certificate which local Safety Towns give to their young people. Copy of the certificate, shirt, letters, newspaper articles enclosed, tab U. Two teenagers, now 19 and 17, who have been very close to Dorothy are our daughters, who have been involved with Safety Town virtually all their lives, being age 3.5 and 2 when Dorothy became involved. They are not only excellent examples of long-range effective safety results, but their humor and cheerful attitudes helped Dorothy over many of the pitfalls she encountered. One example of continuing a positive safety attitude with a sense of humor is the enclosed letter from our oldest daughter, see tab V. Wish I had all these things. I don't know where they are. Okay, to give you some idea of how Dorothy structured the National Safety Town Center, I have included copies of the organizational chart, purpose, etc. See tab W. A major part of structuring was her concern of helping local communities raise funds for their local program. See letter explaining step-by-step procedure to local communities, tab X. While Dorothy would be the first person to tell you about the beautiful people who volunteer to help her, of which she is extremely proud of, I can honestly tell you that Dorothy is the one who has done 95% of the work. She creates an idea, develops the necessary visual aids, writes the necessary publicity releases, and on and on. The volunteers, especially our state and district directors, have been fantastic in spreading the Safety Town story. But since the majority of them hold full-time positions, Dorothy feels she should provide them with and do as much work as possible from the center. In addition to developing ideas, typing, packing orders, she has and is worn almost every business hat in operating a successful organization, such as legal, accounting, publicity, public relations, fundraising, personnel training, etc., etc. Combine this with the various hats she has and is wearing in the educational field, such as doing research on child development, writing books, presenting this information to parents and teachers, I think you can see why we feel she is special. I am sure I speak for every state and district director and local director, every child, teenager, parent, grandparent, teacher, police officer, city and school official, and civic organization member when I ask that we hope you will give Dorothy every serious consideration for receiving an award as the Volunteer of the Year for her 15 years of volunteer efforts. Thanking you in advance for your time and consideration sincerely. Okay, preparation. It was difficult to determine what to include. Through the 15 years, Dorothy had including an 8-file drawer. It has accumulated 8 files of an 8-file drawer cabinet of letters, programs, newspaper articles. We selected a few from each category. It relates to her, as explained by Frank Schlack. To assist you in reading, we have marked and wrote comments and read points that we felt would be of most interest to you. Now, I think this is the, as I said, this is an excellent, and included, it will be included in the book. That was presented, Frank, as I said, wrote that, and then we gave it to Bill Bryant, and he, I think, sent that along with a cover letter for the Volunteers of America, to the YWCA for the Outstanding Young Women of Achievement was the award. And I was selected. I was one of 5 selected. There's a very nice picture, and that's me in the center. It was a very nice award, and I have a beautiful crystal container at the office, which we'll show the next time around. And then they also had a picture of us, and then which was taken earlier, and then this was the actual day. Very exciting day. It was held in Cleveland at a large ballroom. Several hundred people attended. I have the program, and I was very honored, very, very honored. And that's a nice little write-up of our tying in a little bit of our personal lives into our Safety Town lives. Okay, 1979, remember I said the Ohio Department of Highway Safety, I kept in contact with them as much as possible. And every year, usually in the March issue, they wrote in a nice little article about our upcoming workshops. March 26, 1979. Thank you. This is from James Lipscomb, Executive Director of the George Gunn Foundation. As mentioned before, I submitted proposals to George Gunn, Cleveland Foundation, Martha Holdings Jennings. This is a response to me. Dear Mrs. Schlatt, I am pleased to inform you that the trustees of the George Gunn Foundation have approved a grant of $2,500 to the National Safety Town Center to assist in building an adequate inventory of its educational and promotional materials, which are important elements in the programs of safety education for children conducted by local safety towns. Okay. It is our understanding the sale of educational promotional materials by your center to local safe towns provides a substantial part of the operating income of the center. It is important that you be able to place these orders sufficiently in advance to have adequate supplies available to meet orders on a timely basis and to take advantage of quantity discounts and reduced shipping rates. Our grant is intended to help in building your inventories for this purpose. Okay. Now, we should like to commend you for your creativity, talents, and dedication, which have made possible the impressive progress of the center and its expanded efforts in recent years. We wish you every success in continuing and straightening its important objectives. James Lipscomb. I don't know, I think I mentioned it on the videotape number 1 that when I first went to meet with these people, James Lipscomb and Henry Dahl, they were so very nice, and I met with them right after, I think April or May of '74, right after the Highway Safety Foundation. And I told them exactly what had happened so they would know everything. But their concern was that we were already, they considered an organization, so we couldn't obtain seed money. Plus the fact that there was nothing in their bylaws to give money to our organization, an organization of our type. So we were not in the arts and we were not in any of these particular categories. And they took me out to lunch and they were very nice and said, especially Henry Dahl, he said, we just cannot find a category in which you would qualify. So finally I kept on after them, and finally they were able to get the $2,500 just for me to build the materials. You heard where it wasn't to organize an organization, because we were already an organization. They considered my being part of the Highway Safety Foundation as part of an organization. So they could only give me limited money to help build my inventory, and that's how we got around that. And that was a lot of work. It actually took like 4 or 5 years to work for $2,500. It's not like you were going to get $200,000. Okay. This was the letter for the Career Women of Achievement Award. Gave me the dates of all kind of events they had. We had a reception on one night, then the morning of the banquet we had a little private reception, and then we had the luncheon, and then we had a get together afterwards. It was a very nice event. Okay, this one is from Bill Cosby. This is a mailogram. I'll show you the mailogram. Here it is. this was dated, let me see, it's 4/12/79. Congratulations on being the recipient of a Career Woman of Achievement Award. You are certainly deserving of this honor, as your work for children's safety is most inspiring. Bill Cosby. That's going to go in our book. That's another copy, so we have that. Okay, this is April 30th, 1979, from John Glenn, our senator. Dear Mrs. Schlatt, thank you for the gracious invitation to visit Cleveland sometime within the coming months to address your group as a luncheon speaker. I sincerely appreciate your thinking of me in this regard, and I do wish I could make a commitment at this time. However, due to ever-increasing legislative obligations, my schedule is uncertain. But he gives me the name of Miss Mary Jane Vino. She will in turn check the availability of the schedule and see if he could work anything in. I don't think he ever came to any of our breakfasts, National Safe Town Week breakfasts or events, but he always sent a representative, as did Senator Metzenbaum. This is June 14th, 1979, since we're doing the year 1979. This was sent to me by George Kulik, who was our state director, the eastern part, state director for the eastern part of Missouri. Pat Edwards and Art Buchanan were the western, and he was the eastern. And it said it couldn't be done. I thought this was great and I should use this. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with the traces of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hit it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed. Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one ever has done it. But he took off his coat and he took off his hat. And the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With the lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quitted, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just starting to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. Isn't that great? Gotta put that in the next newsletter. Okay, 6/28/79. This was, I found this at home upon my trip from Michigan, from the University of Michigan. And Frank would call me Dorothy. Dorothy. Sometimes Dorothy, sometimes Dorothy, sometimes Dottie. But this was Dorothy, D-O-R-F-I-E. We went through a period of that. Dorothy, my love, an article from the Detroit paper, also note inside, okay? And this was Dorothy. I made it home in 3 hours and 15 minutes, new record. The Bud vase on the sink is a table prize I won at the awards dinner last night. Sorry the daisy died. If you have books in the car, leave them until I get home and I'll move them for you. I'll be home early. I'm on the first group off today. Love, Popsy. And he was playing in a golf tournament and won a little vase and had a flower in there for me. Lots of notes. We left lots of notes back and forth. June 29th, 1979. This letter is from Mary Cowart, C-O-W-A-R-T, Interim Executive Director of the Amarillo Area Council of Campfire Girls in Amarillo, Texas. For the past 2 years, the Amarillo Council has operated a safety village utilizing the safety town materials obtained from the local safety instructors. At this time, I should like to purchase our own material, but find I am without a purchase form. Please forward me the form if you could. Thank you for your time and for sponsoring such an excellent project as Safety Town. That was very, very nice. Okay, now I I have here another 1979 daily. This was a to-do calendar. This calendar that we have here was the one that we worked on a day-by-day basis. But this is one, and this was in the office. This is one that I took with me on the road, and it was in a binder. And I made my own dates, 10-1, 10-2, and so forth. Okay, all the way down, and it went into the next year. But when I came across something I wanted to do and I didn't have a calendar for a year in advance, I had this one to refer to, and as I said, to have with me in the car. And again, now this one was not only for Jackie and I, but let's see, I think we're going to go into 1980 here. 1980, I had myself, Jackie, Dolly, and Kathy. Now, I can't remember Dolly and Kathy, who they were, but they were obviously doing some part-time work for us. And let me see if some of the things that, well, Dolly didn't work here very long. I just had her here for 1 month, but that might have been true with volunteers. She delivered posters. Okay, so she was just a volunteer. Again, now Kathy and then I have one for Mom, because Kathy and Mom were volunteers as well. And we just had, and as we did them, we just crossed them off. This was for the 1980 all the way through, and this is 1980. So we'll separate this. This is 1979, and this was 1980 to do. Okay. Someday we'll have to look through that. That's interesting. Okay, now we're done with that. We'll move this on the side. We'll do one more before we call it a night today. Now this is something I probably should have, since we're up to 1980 now. Hey, we're getting there. I should have included this probably in the 1975, but this is one of these categories where, since this is regarding our National Safety Town Week, I thought it would be nice. As you can see here, we have just the first 5 folders of the first 5 years, and we still conduct them, so we have many more in the office. I thought we would do a segment on tape of all about National Safety Town Week, when it started and how we progressed every year. And I want to do that. We'll do that on the next tape, but we'll make a small segment of that. However, next time we do this, I want to incorporate the first year in with the year of 1975, so you can have some idea of what we did in each year. And that's so we'll incorporate it into each year, and then in a separate video we'll just have highlights of from the first year through our 24th year, which will probably be next year. Okay, now the first year for the National Safety Town Week. Now I haven't looked at these papers since 1975, when we did our first National Safety Town Week. And I have no idea if they're in order. I'm hoping they are. It looks like they are. So we'll do it this way as we've done before. Okay. Here it says the Grafton JCs are contributing $25 to the National Safety Town Center in recognition of National Safety Town Week. And great publicity in the paper in Grafton, Wisconsin. That was really nice. Okay, let's see. This was Emily Tack as chairman of National Safety Town Week in Jefferson, Ohio. Dear Dorothy, I'm happy to forward to you, as a result of a successful National Safety Town Week, a check in the amount of $52.65. And I guess they just collected some money and gave it to us. which that wasn't the purpose of National Safety Town Week, but some communities did that. During 1975, National Safety Town Week letters were sent to people for funding. Oh, I guess we did this. Okay. Let's see what we sent. Dear Ed, remember, just in case the name does not ring a bell, I worked for the Higbee Development Corporation. I am sure you remember opening night at the Cleveland Creighton Trucking Company. That was the company I helped, was on a committee in the flats when they were just starting to revitalize the flats. The Cleveland Creighton Trucking Company was a nice little restaurant which was done by the Higbee Development Company, and I was a part of this I served on I served as a secretary during the day, and then I served on a committee helping to make the plans for it. I forgot all about that. I sincerely hope and count on you in being one of our financial support. Needless to say, everyone affiliated with the center would be most appreciative if you could help us spare any money in helping us for a contribution. So I guess the first year we did send out letters to some of our friends and some of our people asking for some donations for the center. Okay, some of these people, Ernst & Ernst, I even sent them one but didn't get any money from them. Know that. August 5th, 1975, Dear Safety Town friend, we can add another accomplishment to our list. Enclosed, please find a copy of Governor Rhodes' proclamation officially designating August 10th through the 16th as National Safety Town Week in Ohio. And here was the proclamation from Governor Rhodes in Ohio. Okay. We'll go here to another one and see. We were able to get radio coverage. There was a wonderful, wonderful disc jockey in Cleveland by the name of Joe Mayer. He was on station WGAR. I worked with him. I think I started working with him in maybe the early 70s. And he gave me as much publicity as he could possibly give me. We gave him an award. He was just the nicest, nicest man. And he did PSAs for us for National Safety Town Week, and he did 21 30-second announcements for us, and at $30 a spot it would have cost us $630, which they donated. Again, being a nonprofit organization, that helped us tremendously. This was to public service directors from me regarding National Safety Town Week, so the PSA directors would know what to promote during National Safety Town Week. August 21st, this letter went to Department of Highway Safety, to Director Cook. Thank you for your letter of August 1st and the proclamation from Governor Rhodes. So we always, again, send out thank you notes. We sent out a National Safety Town Week notice. We are excited and proud. Are we excited and proud? We sure. Here are. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to stop this in a minute. There's not going to be much left here. I really sound very deep. Are we excited and proud? We sure are. Here's why. Our past year's accomplishments. And then we listed what we did. And then we included National Safety Town Week information. And this is the little form that we sent for them to make a donation that first year. It closes my check, and we did that. Okay? Okay. Dear Safety Town friend, July 7th, 1975. This packet, without a doubt, is the most important packet of material we have ever mailed to you. It contains information that can provide us funds that we need to make films, print books, and so forth. Now, this information for them to handle, not just for National Safety Town Week, but it gave them, here's the breakdown. Here's all you do from July 10th through the 20th. Have a meeting with your instructors. Have them make PSA types July 21st. Have the PSAs to local newspapers July 27th through August 3rd. Have a meeting with instructors to make the traffic light donation boxes. Oh, that's what we had. We made milk carton, cardboard traffic light boxes to put money in, and we wanted the teenagers to take them to various locations. That's how we got the contributions. Wasn't very successful. Wasn't very successful at all. And here is the traffic light donation box instructions, what they need: an empty 1/2 gallon milk carton, scissors, red and green magic marker, double-sided scotch tape and single-sided tape, and instructions: open both sides to the top of the carton with the scissors, 12 ways how to make the traffic light box. Forgot all about that. That was great. Now here is a sheet that we sent along with this packet. This was for the instructors, complimenting them, and then we had simple PSA announcements for them to do, such as, hello, I'm Susie Smith, a teenage volunteer instructor for Safety Town. I am very proud to be a part of this preschool safety education program that saves lives and prevents accidents. This is the National Safety Town Week, and other teen volunteers and myself will be at shopping centers this weekend helping to raise funds for this great program. May we count on your help. Okay, and we had several of them doing this. We included a sample newspaper publicity release, a PSA, again because a lot of our local people didn't know what to include, and because we had worked with such professional people like Denny Griswold from PR News, George Glazer, Helen Knowlton with the Prudential people, with so many top PR company people, and they gave us exactly what to put in, so we wanted to make it as professional as possible. So we put this. There's certain things that had to be first. Like the week of August 1st is National. You had to tell them in that first sentence what it was. The week of August 1st is National Safety Town Week, and teenagers throughout the country who are Safety Town instructors will do exactly what Susie Smith and her fellow instructors are doing here in Cleveland, Ohio. Proceeds will go for research and so forth, so it was in there. Here's a sample proclamation that we sent for them to give to their mayors, to issue a proclamation. Okay. Oh, and here I have it. Here is the, look at this. Haven't seen this since 1975, I think. Here is our milk carton. Let's see if I can get it this way. I'm sure it went. I might just put one of these together. We probably have one in the file. But that was our milk carton traffic light box. It's a National Safety Town Week on that side. And it's a did you know about the accidents on this side. It gave some statistics. Everyone working for the center are volunteers. No one is paid. This means all money will be spent for research. Not for research, for printing of books, making films, and visual aids. Please stop and help us so we may go and help others. We were so creative. The National Safety Town Center is a nonprofit, tax-exempt organization, so forth. I still think this is something that could go well. I don't know how people feel about putting things in the cartons. I think there are just a few of them around now anymore, probably for muscular dystrophy. But certainly won't hurt to try. Never know. I think if we were going to do it for something specific, I don't think for materials, but I've always, it would be nice to have National Safety Town Center to have its own building. And I think if we wanted to send that out and then tell people like to buy a brick, and we thought about this a long time ago, even before Disney put buying a brick on there at Disney World. But we were thinking of putting they would buy a brick, but inside of the one room we would have all the names, like the Vietnam Wall Memorial. We would have all the names of people who bought the brick, not necessarily their names would appear on the brick somewhere in the building, but they would pay for one brick and their names would be on the wall. So we would, maybe if we did that, and if people would know that they'd have their own building, they might do it. I don't know. Okay, this is a certificate of appreciation that we made for becoming involved and being a part of our first annual National Safety Town Week. We are very grateful for the time and effort you spend in helping us. Because of your help, we can continue to help others to live. You have proven that teenagers do care about people, and we are so very proud of you. So this is things that we sent to the teenagers who did those milk carton boxes. Okay, this is another thank you letter. And another thank you letter. So this was our first annual National Safety Town Week. And we concentrated that first week just in Ohio. Now, 1976. Okay. Again, this is new to me. Haven't. Whoa, this has been around. Don't know where this is from. Okay. Let's see what this is. Okay. Dear Tom, please insert a copy of the proclamation into each envelope, seal and mail as soon as possible. Oh, this is for Tammy. I sent this to Tammy, so all papers can review it. I've enclosed a blank envelope and a stop sign brochure. Please Xerox and mail to various papers. Okay, so this is something that I sent to Tammy, and then she did when she was able to help us put this together. Now, sample from the White House. For immediate release, Office of the White House Press Secretary. Oh, this was a sample of proclamation that we received on National Poison Prevention Week, and this is how we were told to use this to send to the governors for national proclamation. Okay? We sent letters out to, this was to Ralph Perk, the city of Cleveland, and he issued us National Safety Town Week Proclamation 1976. And what do we have here? Okay, this is the same thing. These are just extra copies, which we certainly can use in the future, I guess, for something or other. Didn't know what they were, but they're here. Oh, it's right there. They gave us extra copies. That was very nice of them. We sent a letter to Paul Harvey, ABC Entertainment, Chicago, Illinois. Forgot about this one. Dear Mr. Harvey, August 24th, 1976. First, may I say how very much I enjoy your program. Your unique manner of presenting information is not only extremely interesting, but often humorous and entertaining. This indeed makes listening so very enjoyable. Secondly, during my travels, many people have requested that I write to you and inform you about our program and organization, since many times you mention a program beneficial to the public. They felt you would inform your listeners about our program, Safety Town, which has greatly helped children and parents prevent accidents. These days, with everyone concerned about many health diseases, cancer, muscular dystrophy, etc., we forget that the leading cause of death and injury of children ages 1 to 4 are safety-related accidents. We sincerely hope after reading our enclosed material you will print the attached letter, hopefully during our National Safety Town Week. You indeed have our permission to use any or part of the printed information you choose to, or rewrite the letter. Through your program, many people will be informed about our program and become interested in learning how they can organize a safe town in their town. On behalf of everyone affiliated with the organization, may I express our deepest appreciation for your time and interest and cooperation. It is only through people like you that we can inform the public of our life-saving program. You will indeed be helping us to protect our most valuable resource, our precious children. And then we gave him some facts and so forth. I don't think we ever heard from him. But I'm going to keep this out because I want to Xerox that. That's important. I like that. Forgot about writing to him. Okay. We sent letters. Again, here, we sent a sample proclamation to all of our Safety Town coordinators for them to have their mayor issue proclamations. And I think this is simply Michigan and Ohio. These are just copies of the letters that we typed up the news release. We sent everything complete to them in a packet. Information pertaining to the picture. Okay. The letter read, here's to the editors, regarding Governor Proclamation Safety Week, the week of September 19th through the 25th has been officially designated as National Safety Town Week in Massachusetts. Governor Dukakis called upon our citizens to join in this important program to promote safety town throughout the state. And we did meet with Governor Dukakis in Massachusetts. Tammy and I did go up and drive and met with him. We have a picture in the office with him and that. And Pat Edwards arranged to get the proclamation from the governor of Missouri. So we were well on our way of getting proclamations from governors. And we continued with the traffic light donation box with our teenagers in that particular year. Okay, and then we sent a letter to each of our directors, as I said, with complete instruction. Here again, oh, this is a little bit better. Here again is our traffic light for National Safety Town Week donation box. Forgot all about that. Wait till Frank comes home and I'll tell him about that. He's not going to remember about that at all. In fact, I'm going to turn that inside out that way so we can make a picture of that too. Okay. Office of the State of Montana. Now, I don't think they supported it. The first few years, some of the governors turned us down because we did not have a state director, and the request had to come from someone within the state, and that's what this governor did in Montana. Dear Mrs. Sladd, thank you for your letter requesting that I issue a proclamation for National Safety Town Week. I have established the policy of not issuing proclamations out of the state unless a request is also made by a Montana affiliate of the organization. So we would have had a lot more had we had, at that time we didn't have a safety town. And I don't think we still have a safety town in Montana. A registered and credit certified one. We have a few in the shopping malls. But we don't have a registered credit certified one. But I'm sure we'll get one. And various representatives, Ron Model, who was a congressman in Ohio, went to school with Frank and was in JC's together, so he was always very helpful in getting us. This is a nice picture. This is a nice picture of myself and Andy Miller. And Andy Miller was our area district director in Ohio for northeastern Ohio, which covered Cleveland and Helene Anger did Cleveland. He covered Summit County and Akron. He lived in Kent, and he got a proclamation from his mayor and gave us a copy. Here was Dukakis declares Safety Town Week. Isn't that nice? National Safety Town Plan stirs interest in Falmouth. And Andy, regarding this picture, let's get the picture back, we'll get it together. Sent the picture with Safety Town Week opening on Sunday. He got a proclamation. He was on the police department, so he got a proclamation from the mayor, and it was in the newspaper, and he had me in the article. Nice, nice information. Okay. I know this is taking some time, but there's no way anyone, if anything ever when anything ever happens to me, no one's ever going to take the time to go through all of this information. And I thought the best thing would be to go through some of this quickly and point out some highlights. And if somebody wants to check, at least they'll know where it is. And as I said, we're going to take some of these important things and really digest this into a smaller tape. So, you know, I just found this. This is the 9th Annual Safety Town Workshop. And this has nothing to do with National Safety Town Week. So we will put it on the side. But it must have been in that big moving van when everything was thrown on the floor. The governor of Illinois, and Indiana, Iowa, St. Paul, Minnesota, Crofton, Nebraska, Columbus, Ohio, Montpelier, Vermont, and that's just a copy of, this one is from Office of the Governor of Virginia, Commonwealth of Virginia, Charleston, West Virginia. Where is this one from? Oh, that's a copy of our thing. Here's one from article that was in the newspaper in New Jersey, Lee Burke, Sacramento, California. That's exciting. Gail Nichols obtained information from Michigan, obtained and did a lot of work there as our state director. She was a dynamite state director. Did a lot of work. Her husband was, at one point, the legal counsel or legal advisor for the national JCs, and he helped us put together a lot of legal documentation. And she helped, she traveled down to New Orleans with me, and I'm trying to think how many other places, standing at a booth, with a booth display trying to promote the program at the National Governors Highway Safety Conferences, at the National Driver and Education Association conferences. Anytime we had a booth display, she was there to help. Very nice girl. She and Diane Emmerich, who is now Diane Dotson, but Diane was also great. I met Diane, and she attended one of my workshops in the late 70s in Kent, Ohio. Then she went on to move to, I believe it was Iowa, and then South Dakota and then Colorado, and obtained grants in each state. I think they obtained monies for 6 safety towns to be built, where the State Department gave them matching funds for houses and so forth, and for materials from the center. They flew me out in the fall to talk to many of their people about organizing the program, and then they flew me back out in the spring to talk on curriculum. It was all financed by their Department of Highway Safety, and that was Diane Emmerich and Diane Dotson. Well, it was Diane Emmerich at both places. She became Diane Dotson after she left Colorado. She's now down in Georgia working for a safety organization. What a dynamite gal. Okay, Orem, Utah. We're going back to the proclamations from the governors. Salt Lake City, Utah. And here's another one from Dukakis. It should have been with Dukakis. Things are just sort of out of file, but they're there. Okay, this was our National Safety Town Week from 1976. So you can see when we went from 1 in 1975 that we had, I don't know how many, I think we had 20 governors or so that issued proclamations for 1976. And as I said, the reason some of them did not is because we did not have a state director or someone in that state affiliated with our organization, which would have been a director. 1979, I'm sorry, 1977. Okay. This looks like it's going to be a big one here. Now, I just noticed what Jackie did here. We put inside the folder proclamations received and received negative responses, and ones that would only issue us proclamations through affiliations, which we did not have. In 1977, we received proclamations from Arizona, Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Illinois, South Carolina, New Mexico, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Mississippi, Massachusetts, Louisiana, New Hampshire, Delaware, Georgia, West Virginia, Missouri. We received a negative response from Maine, but all the other ones, Montana, Connecticut, Washington, Minnesota, Iowa, Hawaii, Michigan, Nebraska, Alaska, and Hawaii, all needed affiliations. So we were certainly making progress at that point. Again, now I think this is the year we discontinued the milk carton forms, because for the $60, $70 that we received the first year, we decided to discontinue it. So we sent, again, letters to the editors regarding National Safety Town Week. Basically the same thing that we had done. Actually, we have used the same letter every year, just changed the dates and changed the, we used to give the statistical data. But once they got to know us, we just kept sending the same proclamation. As the saying said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is a copy of a picture. This is Governor Ray of Iowa, and this is myself and my daughter Tammy, and this is Dorothea Gamble, who was our state director in Iowa. And we went into the governor's office in Iowa, drove there to have him personally sign the proclamation and take the picture. That was, a lot of them requested that, or wanted that done, wanted you there personally to sign. This is preparation for National Safety Town Week. It contained the governor's packet, memo to the rector, and the fundraising letters. Let me see if we did the fundraising letters there. I didn't think we did it anymore, but let me very quickly see. Here's an article, Safety Town Week, Bowling Green, Ohio, from their mayor. And we had a dynamic gal who started that safety town in Bowling Green. I'm trying to find her name right now in here. Jane Burke. She was a dynamic gal. Here's another one from Kirksville, Missouri, Pat Edwards and Art Buchanan. Had a nice article in there. Let me see if we did any more with, we have a letter to the governor. More children die from accidents in the news release. We have that to them. And we listed, like in 1977, for example, accidents killed 10,919 children. Cancer, birth defects, pneumonia, homicide, heart disease, and stroke only killed 6,502 children. This is ages 1 through 14. And we felt we did a lot of publicizing that because that was important. No, I do not see anything more that we did in the way of doing anything with the milk carton box, so I think we just continue that. Copy of Governor's Rockefeller letter. He sent us, how about this? Not only did your very nice governor send us a proclamation, but added a nice personal touch by sending this letter. Wish I had the letter. Don't have the letter. It's got to be somewhere. You'll note the week of September 25th through October, which was 1 week later than originally scheduled. However, your governor's press secretary telephoned and will make the correction. Okay. Copies, correspondence, and articles. Governor's Proclamation National Safety Town Week 1977. These are the letters, but I just saw a nice picture here. Let me see who this governor is. I don't know who this governor is. James Edwards, governor of Columbia, South Carolina. There's a picture of him signing the proclamation. These would be very nice pictures to put in with the National Safety Town Week information. That's going to go in the book. Okay, we'll put this way. Didn't know I had that one. Okay. Well, this is turning out to be a little bit more exciting than I thought it was going to be. Governor Rockefeller. Okay. We sent all thank you letters out. Dear Governor Rockefeller, September 30th, 1977, immediately after the event, on behalf of our honorary chairman, Dr. Bill Cosby, and everyone affiliated with our organization, I would like to express my most sincere appreciation for your proclamation designating the week as our National Safety Town Week in West Virginia. It was so very gracious of you to honor our request, and we are very grateful for your proclamation and sincere interest in helping us protect our most precious resource, our children. Thank you for your personal letter of September 22nd, extending your wishes for our success and for your complimentary comment about our endeavor. And I sent a copy to Rob Nabergall and Dave Coster, who were our coordinators in the state of West Virginia. Wish I had people to still keep in contact with a lot of these people. Lost contact with many of them. This is copies of correspondence and articles of governors who were not participating. And again, this might have been because we didn't have the state, a district director in that state. Oh, here's the nice letter from Governor Rockefeller that said, I am pleased to issue a proclamation. This is a very commendable endeavor, and I wish you great success with it. So most of them sent just a regular proclamation, but in addition, he sent a nice little letter, which I thought was very nice, and we're going to send that. Okay, that's going to be in the future. Two more we have. This is the 4th annual week, that was 77. This is 1978. And I'll do it very quickly because it isn't. And we constantly updated our our directors' names on the back of our stationery. This was National Safety Town Week, September 17th through the 23rd, 1978. And again, basically the same information was sent. Now let's see what's in this envelope. Oh, it looks like it's still sealed. Nope, it's open this way. Nope, sealed this way. My goodness. I hope we opened it when we got it. Let's see what's in here. This was returned to us from Jeff Lehman. Jeff Lehman was our coordinator for Connecticut and also on our advisory board. Very, very influential man, very knowledgeable man, had been involved in a lot of organizations. But we sent him a copy of a letter to send to his governor and so forth, to his Governor Grasso. We prepared everything for them, and all they had to do is take this. We even addressed it to the governor because they had to sign it. They had to sign it and then send it to their governor. These were the states, these were the governors who wanted people within their states to request it from within their state, not from another state like we were in Ohio. Okay, this is to safety town teachers, police officers, and directors. Again, we gave them some information, sample PSAs for their children and parents and teenagers to do on the radio. All this was sent to them. We still do this, by the way. Okay. Okay, now, obviously we were still doing that. We tried something new. We must have still did the traffic light box in 77, because here in 78 we have, this year during National Safety Town Week, we are asking local Safe Town personnel to meet with teenagers and helping to raise funds. 50% to go to the center and 50% to remain in your community. And I don't know if we used the boxes or how they did it, but we did still do some fundraising campaigns during that time. Okay, we thought that would have been a great time to do something. Might have done if we approached it differently, but okay, these are just samples going to the various governors. And I can, maybe they should do it here. Okay. There it is. There's our traffic light box. We still had them. Isn't that nice? Okay. They were folded. Well, I have one. I didn't think I'd have them. You see that? Look at that. Still have these. Wow, what a find. I feel like people who worked on the King Tut expedition when they found the tomb. We had Bill Cosby's signature on there. I think we just simply did it folded this way and this way, and had them both going on the same thing. Okay. Well, we can put that together in our book. Exciting, 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 exciting. As Frank said, doesn't take much to get me excited. Okay, I can get this down nice and even. No sense doing it later when you can do it now. What's this saying? Do it right the first time, stupid. Okay, these are all from the governors. Again, more of these. I think we can go through this at a later date and dispose of some of these copies. I think if we have 2 or 3 copies, it's sufficient. This is John W. Cooper, mayor of City of Webster Grove, meeting with some teenagers. Appeared in the newspaper. Here's Knoxville, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Okay. Correspondence from governors who did not respond. Again, basically it was we needed a representative. Now look at how full this is. Correspondence from governors who did respond for 1978. And we have the whole list of them here in the inside of the book manual, or inside the folder. That's a folder, Dorothy. And Jackie even put the date when we received them. New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Mississippi, Ohio, Arizona, Tennessee, California, Oklahoma, Wyoming, Missouri, Virginia, Louisiana, Illinois, Delaware, Montana, Georgia, New Mexico, West Virginia, and Rhode Island. So we did get a representative in Montana too. I think it was Casey. Sylvia Casey was a dynamite gal with the Women in Traffic Safety, and I think she helped us. Okay, and newspaper proclamation sent to various newspapers. Before we knew about the wire service with United Press International and Associated Press, we had our interns go to the library and get the telephone book from various cities and get names and addresses of newspapers. Then we found out through PRSA, Public Relations Society of America, that they had a book of newspapers. We found that a few years later. But we did everything the hard way at first. Later on, we just paid a fee, and we sent information to the United Press International and the Associated Press. They put it on the wire service, and it went into every newspaper, goes into every newspaper company, no matter how big or how small, and they can pick up and run what they want to. But number one, we didn't know about it. Number two, I don't think we had the money to pay for the fees for some of those things. The same thing with UPS. We did not know. We had to pack all of our boxes, put them in our car, and drive them about 5 or 6 miles to a UPS station until we found out a few years later that we could have a UPS pickup delivery every day. And you'll see pictures later on of Jackie and Gail and myself and Lynn and Tammy all packing these orders and putting them in the boxes. But this was all the newspapers that we sent to in Pennsylvania, Tennessee. Isn't this unbelievable? Mississippi, New Hampshire, Arizona, Oklahoma. We just had them all listed. Wyoming, Virginia, Missouri. Look at all the newspapers in Missouri that we got addresses for and sent them a copy of the governor's proclamation for them to put it. Now, and look at Ohio as well. Little did we know that most governor's offices, all governor's offices, had a press secretary. And as we were told by Governor DuPont in Delaware, they simply sent a news release from the governor's office, and that encompassed all the newspapers. So we really worked extra hard those first few years getting the information out. Okay, this is the last one. This is the last one that I have here. This is our 5th annual one, 1979. And look at the wonderful list of governors who responded. I'm not sure how many, but let me do a quick count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 32 governors issued proclamations to us. And this is 5 years after we started in 1975 with one governor. And 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. 5 years later, we had 32 governors. Very, very, very exciting. Okay. Now I think this is, I don't think we discontinued the traffic light box. I think this was the last, 78 was the last year that we did it. Here's correspondence from governors not responding. So we had some that did not respond. And this is the wonderful packet of ones who did issue the proclamations. And some of them sent very nice letters along with it expressing their best wishes to us. Several of them throughout the years, including Governor Rockefeller and Governor DuPont, even said that if there's any way that they could be of any help to contact them. And as I said, the only reason we did not is because we did not have the personnel, the appropriate, qualified, professional personnel in respective field to follow up with it. We couldn't very well have a clerk typist who had never had experience in public relations or writing a PSA or meeting with people such as a governor. We couldn't say, all right, Governor DuPont is interested in helping us go up there, discuss with him to see how we can promote the program, what we can do. Is there any possibility of getting any corporate funding from his? You couldn't explain this to somebody who was a volunteer doing file work for us, because they had other jobs, and you needed professional people. Okay, that is the end of that. I do want to, one very important thing during this one. This is the first, I think this is the first one we got from Delaware. We got one in 1978 from Delaware. Okay, but I'm not sure what the date of this is because it's blank here, but it might be 78 or 79. But I drove up to Delaware to meet with Governor DuPont, and he was so gracious. He not only issued a proclamation for National Safety Town Week, but he issued a proclamation to me specifically, which I have on the wall in my office in Beechwood, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cleveland. And he was very nice. He gave me a cup of coffee, and we sat in his little office. And I said, he gave me the proclamation. He said, I have something for you as well. And I said, for me? And he said, yes, I did some research about you. And he said, I am just most impressed with all the work that you've done on a volunteer basis for our children, and gave me a beautiful, beautiful proclamation. And here is, and he had his press secretary there to take a picture of the signing. And I asked for copies to send to the newspapers. He said, we'll take care of that. We do it from this office. Just as nice as could be. And this was the proclamation he gave to me. State of Delaware, know we all by these present that Dorothy Schladd, in recognition of memorous service on behalf of the citizens of the state of Delaware, which has been brought to the attention of the governor, and upon personal review of your qualifications, is hereby presented this order of the first state to bear witness to your outstanding efforts, knowledge, integrity, prudence, and ability as displayed by the evidence of your accomplishments. In witness whereof, I, Pierre S. DuPont, Governor of the State of Delaware, have hereunto set my hand and seal on this date in the year of the Lord, and so forth. This did not come through with the Xerox, but I have the dates, and this was either 78 or 79. I'll have to check with that, but that very big honor. I was so surprised and so honored. When I met with him, I came back to Cleveland, and I had a board meeting and met with our board members, and I think it was Herb Hoppe that said, did you mention to the Governor DuPont possibly financial support? And I said, but he's the governor. And Herb Hoppe said to me, but he's also the DuPont family. And at the time, so help me, at the time when I sat with him, I was just so impressed with him as such a wonderful man as a governor. I never thought of him as being part of the DuPont family and asking for funding. So even somebody, and I thought I was fairly trained of knowing when to do fundraising and so forth, and that's why it was so important to have professional people do it, because even I, as knowledgeable as I was, there were times that you forget if you don't do it often enough. Okay, we're going to stop for now. Okay, good morning. Well, here we are again. Now, from this point in this video, this is going to be what I'm going to call an add-in. Last few days and nights I found piles, 2-3 piles of letters and information that should have been included in 1973, 74, 75, and all the way up through 79, where we left off before this. So what I'm going to do now is, I even went back in the videotape. That's how a Virgo mind works. Went back through a videotape to see what I was wearing when I was doing the 73s and 74s with this outfit, so that we could
then splice these into those particular areas of the right dates and so forth. That's why I've been reading the dates. So there'll be a lot of splicing. For somebody's going to have to be doing a lot of splicing of videotapes in the future. But anyway, here we go. I have my Dorothy cup, as Frank would say, Dorothy cup, with some nice warm coffee, because it's a little, oh, it's not cold outside today, a nice bright sunny day, but a little wind chill. It's about 66 or something. I guess that's not cold for Ohio, but for Florida, that's just a little nippy, so we have some nice warm decaf coffee. Okay, I don't think I included this. Some of this might be duplication, but that's what the editing people will do with the video. Remember I talked about a gentleman by the name of Will Sachs from the Highway Safety Foundation, who I thought was an extremely brilliant man. This is his copy of the hearings before the Subcommittee on Investigation and Oversight of the Committee of Public Works, the House of Representatives, the 92nd Congress, April 11th, 12th, 13th, and June 20th, 21st, and 22nd of 1972. Now, and there's a lot of information in there where he had to, he gave testimony on different problems facing this committee, as far as his main thing, as I mentioned, was that the bridges were deteriorating, and he wanted, that was his #1 project, but he had many other ones. It just says here, testimony of Will Sachs, Executive Director, Highway Safety Foundation, accompanied by Charles W. Priss, Safety Coordinator and Special Assistant to the Federal Highway Administration, etc. And just a lot of good testimony, and something like this I thought was just too valuable to throw away and discard. So I hope someday when we have a museum we can include this as part of it. Yeah, it was 1972. Okay. In 1970, this is 1973, May 24th, 1973. Cleveland and the World. The dinner was Honorable Ralph J. Perk was honorary chairman. This was at the Statler Hilton Hotel in the Grand Ballroom in Cleveland, Ohio, and I just attended a lot of these activities. This was, of course, in '73 when I was working for the State Department. I went there as a representative of Governor Gilligan, but even after that, I attended a lot of functions. Just to be involved and be seen, so to speak, and meet people to help with the organization, and especially at activities like this were much more meaningful than meeting in an office building or in a meeting room. To meet them at a social event seemed to be a little bit more of an icebreaker. But anyway, it was World Trade Week, and proclaimed by President Nixon and by the governor. And I was there to, I gave some type of award. I'm trying to see, let me see if I'm in the program here. Sometimes these things the governor didn't attend till the very, or did decide not to attend to the last minute, so they didn't have time to put the names in the program. But let me see if there is something in here that makes reference to the governor. No, I don't see any. Oh yes, I'm sorry, here it is. This is cake cutting ceremony representing the governor. Now, Mr. C. William Harpo, Deputy Director, Ohio Department of Economic and Community Development, was to be there and was unable to attend, so I had to attend for that. I remember this so well because this had several hundred people in attendance, and again, I only saw very few women. And they met me at the door of the Grand Ballroom, escorted me to the top, to the dais, and I ate my dinner. And then they had me, then I presented this, was involved with this, I gave an award, presented them with an award for this event, and then helped with cake cutting. And then they had 2 men escort me out of the room, and I said, "Can I stay?" And they said, "Oh, no, this is just mainly a men's function." And I thought that was real funny. But it was a nice event. I enjoyed the meal. It was seafood Lorenzo in a patty shell, tomato stuffed with mushroom, Mediterranean salad, Dobish tort, French bread, English tea, and mac and cheese. So one of my fun things, but I thought it was interesting that I couldn't stay for the meeting, but the two men escorted me to the top and escorted me back. Okay, now I probably have some of these throughout the various tapes, and as I said, we'll coordinate them all together. But this one I really want to stress so importantly because, as I have said many times, I certainly want to give appropriate credit to Fred Bowles and what he did in 1937. But by the same token, I deserve, and a lot of my people deserve, a lot of credit for what they have accomplished. So I've always made the reference here that safety towns in the United States in 1937, I'll use my little pencil, 1937 to 1967 there were approximately 20 safety towns in existence. Excuse me, I still have this horrible whatever it is. 1968 to 1973 there were over 100. That's in a period of 5 years, from 68 to 1973. Now you have to remember 1968 was the first year I went to outside of Bedford to make a Safe Town presentation. I went to Strongsville, was the first year, 1968. And then why the recent increase, and this talks about it. So this is why this paper to me is very, very important, and it's going to be featured in our final video, I'm sure. That's got to be in there, just too crucial. Okay. This is a meeting I had on May 15th, 1974, meeting with Bill Miller, who was the safety director of Goodyear. And now this is on, I won't repeat this because this is on video number 1 about my meeting with Goodyear and Mr. Davies, how they wouldn't even consider doing anything for us. But anytime I went to any of these meetings, I always sat and made, these are my notes. I could understand them, a lot of people couldn't, but I know it's almost impossible for anyone viewing this to understand how fast I had to work on so many projects at one time. Without having a staff, just had Jacqueline, who was, as I said, fabulous. But when people hear what we've done, they think we had a staff of 20, 30 people. It was just unbelievable. So I didn't have time to do anything very formal. I just had to do all these jotting things down. Meeting with Bill Miller, I had to explain developments at the Highway Safety Foundation, because this was right after they folded. Months ago made arrangements for the national convention. I need funds for booths and so forth because we had made commitments to do some of these things. Safety Town proven itself important and wanted by people and personnel, and we needed a center. I had to explain the plans in the making in this summer that I was going to hire this Tom Cardo. Remember I talked to, he was that ventriloquist, and that I had made a commitment that I would get him a summertime job, and he had consequently then didn't look for a summertime job, so I was committed and I wasn't going to back down on my word. And as I said, I had to pay for them out of my own pocket, but that's what you just do when you make a commitment to somebody. Okay. Now this had to be, this was probably the end of 74, and I might have had this in the other one too. This is when I went out to a East School for Retired Children in Pepper Pike. As I said, in addition to talking to groups on how to organize a safety town, into safety councils and defensive driving courses and safety belt convincer and all the other things, I still had to with the State Department. I went into some of the schools and talked to the children on safety, and this one we helped them make little fireman's hats and put them on, and they just thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay, that might be in the 74 one. Okay, now this one says Sammy Davis, Dick Wayman, and Walter Mason. This might be a little involved, and again, we'll have to incorporate a lot of this into. I'm having some trouble here trying to balance this, but since we filed the latest on top, I have to go from the back up. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? How about this? I'm going to turn it this way and put it down here. This I know you saw. You saw this. We had this before with the Sammy Davis Jr. thing, so, but it goes in the same folder. This was July 5th, 1974. Remember, the Highway Safety Foundation folded really about, well, April 1st was the first news that I had of it, and then our telethon was going to be in June, but that May and June were just such months of chaos, trying to get loans. Frank and I trying to get loan and get the books out to the people who've been waiting for the books and all that. So this will fit in an appropriate place on July 5th, 1974. Dear Sammy, this is Sammy Davis Jr. I wrote to. My name probably doesn't sound familiar, but the name Dick Wayman probably will. Recently, during a conversation with Dick, he suggested I contact you during your stay in Cleveland. I worked for Dick at the Highway Safety Foundation relative to the Safety Town program. Mainly because of Safety Town and my promotional efforts with Beverly Roberts, the foundation was granted approval for the 1974 telethon. After the telethon was canceled, Beverly phoned me to discuss the possibility of a telethon for the National Safety Town Center. And I was completely flattered with that, knowing how difficult it was for any organization to get a telethon, to be approved for a telethon. I declined because at that time we were not sufficiently organized. She further stated that in the future, if I would like a telethon, to contact her. If we have a very nice relationship. As I said, when I look back at all these things that if we had the people, we could have branched out on so many areas. It was just unbelievable. Due to the many circumstances involving the Highway Safety Foundation, I took the National Safety Town Center and formed our own nonprofit organization. While you are in Cleveland, I would like very much to meet with you or your representative as soon as possible to discuss future plans and many exciting ideas, and how we feel you might want to be involved, possibly as honorary chairman. Enclosed are 6 guidebooks. Over 3,000 have been mailed throughout the United States and other countries. We are reprinting to make proper corrections. As you have probably noticed, your picture and a message signed by you appears in each book, each with a different appropriate message. In our reprinting, I would like to continue to use same pending your approval. I realize you will be extremely busy after tonight's show, but I would like to meet with you just briefly to set up a meeting date. If this is not possible, please call me at 248-0826 tomorrow or Sunday. Because of heavy travel schedule during the next 8 days, my time is quite committed. Sincerely, Dorothy Schlatt, President. P.S. Your close associates, Walter Mason and Joe Grant, might remember me. I worked with Walter Mason on a program in Detroit and talked with both of them at the opening of the Highway Safety Foundation in New York, where I also had the pleasure of meeting your mom. Now, that's a great letter, and I'm going to frame that. This I gave to one of the ushers at the Front Row Theater. I don't think she was an usher. I think she was one of the receptionists or one of the employees there, and asked her to give it to Sammy because he was opening at the Front Row Theater. And never heard from him at that particular time. Okay? Now, here we have, getting back to this Tom and Oscar, this is just some of the things I had to write a publicity release that I sent to all the safety towns in Greater Cleveland. I don't know how many there were. I think I had committed him for about 10 or 12 safety towns to do his puppet demonstration. And again, a lot of these people didn't know how to write a news release, so I wrote the news release. And this one, Carolyn Wilson and I worked on this together. Carolyn Wilson was a girl who worked for me for a few, I don't know how many months, maybe 6 months or so, and then had some problems, domestic problems with her, either ex-boyfriend or ex-husband trying to, I guess, hurt her, so she had to move out of town, but a very nice young lady. But anyway, it's a publicity, so you're looking for a scoop of the year, a chance to interview a new and rising star, opportunity knocks, Oscar's in town. Escorted and assisted by Tom Cardo, Oscar, the police officer will be visiting your safety town. You are invited to share this delight and so forth. So we wrote the news release, sent that out. Then we sent a letter from Tom Cardo afterwards. Just wanted you to know how thoroughly I enjoyed my travels for Safety Town, and we sent that to each of the safety towns after I did an awful lot of following up on just about everything. And this one is July 17th, excuse me, 1974. Oscar and friends speak up for safety. I'll hide behind this while I'm coughing and drinking. And this one was at, I can't recall what safety town, it doesn't say here. That was July 17th, and then there was another one on July 25th in Bedford. So we arranged to get publicity for them, and it was a nice thing. I'm again sorry we weren't able to find a financial backer and make some things with him. And that was part of the Highway Safety Foundation. Okay, January 24th, 1974. Again, these dates I'm telling you so we can put them in the right places. Dear Dick, it was so nice to talk with you via the telephone recently, and all I can say is please, please, Dick, arrange a meeting just as soon as you can with Walter and whomever you feel necessary. Please don't make the same mistake your board members did in making a decision without getting all the information. We definitely will get a show business personality involved, and I would like very much for Sammy to be that person for many reasons. If I had money, I'd take the next plane to California and sit on Sammy's doorstep until he would talk to me about this program. That's really what I used to do. I did that with Cyrus Eaton. And I know once he hears and once he hears what we have planned, he will definitely want to be involved and be just as enthusiastic as we are. Instead of sitting on his doorstep, I feel I can save the time by having you arrange a meeting, plus the fact that I would never get through his guards. But I'll find some way if I really had to, believe me. To get ahead in life, one must be determined, and that I am. I'm enclosing a copy of our newsletter. I thought you might be interested in seeing what we have accomplished in less than a year. Can you just picture Sammy and our Clancy in promotional work and the effects it would produce? Enclosed also is a letter from Stan Fields while I was in New York during the end of 1973 year. Thought you might be interested in reading how the New York people and Beverly Roberts feel about the program. These were all copies of the letters from Women's Day and Good Housekeeping and UPI and so forth, that I met with all those people. Now that you read the letter, please call immediately and set a date. Dick, when I first heard how you and why you became involved in safety, I highly admired and respected you, and still do, and will always do so. I have and will continue to defend you as to my involvement in what I personally know. If you talked with some of the Cleveland people, they will acknowledge that fact. It's just unfortunate that we have had so many people with little minds and big feet. With warmest personal regards. And then I put in the bottom, P.S. please call. So now wait a minute, I want to get this up because this is going to go in this special folder. That should have been January 1st. Okay. Alright. Gotta get this all together here. Remember, things were in that big van all messed up, and we're just getting them together. Now let me see what we have here, because we have this all taped together with dates, and I want to make sure the dates are as close to, so it makes sense. Okay, March 21st, 1975. This letter is to Mr. Walter Mason, care of Sammy's company, which is SYNI Corporation, Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles. Dear Walter, what a delightful pleasure it was to see and talk with you last Tuesday in Chicago. You were most You were most charming and certainly very generous in affording me so much of your valuable time to explain the various aspects of Safety Town, the Highway Safety Foundation, and the telethon. Topping off the evening by allowing me to watch Sammy's show was indeed an unexpected, enjoyable treat, and I very sincerely thank you for all the courtesies extended to me during my visit. Now, after I'd written that letter to Dick Wayman, I think he followed up and called me back, or Walter Mason called me. Walter Mason was Sammy Davis's, I'm going to call him right-hand man because I don't know his official title. But when he called me and invited me, they paid my travel expense to go to Chicago so he could find out exactly what was happening, what happened at the Highway Safety Foundation, and how Safety Town was going to be affected. Okay, I got there. Now they flew me out there, but I think I had to pay my own hotel room. I think that was what it was, but that was fine. I was so concerned about making sure I had to meet with these people, find out what they were going to do, see if Sammy was going to continue as honorary chairman with us or not. So we met in Chicago. I talked with him quite extensively, explained to him. We had dinner with three other people, which I didn't know at the time were Sammy Davis's warm-up act, a girl and I think a young man. We all got into the limousine, went to the theater, and on the way going to the theater, I remember passing a fairly rundown basketball area, but it had lights on it, and the kids were playing because it was a little dark at night. This was in March. And Walter Mason said to me that just a few months ago, I guess Sammy was there and the kids were playing at night, and Sammy told Walter, make sure that some lights get up there for those kids to play, so they can see, and play a little bit later at night. But don't tell anybody that I'm doing this. And he said Sammy did this so often that he made a lot of nice contributions and people never knew where the donations came from. We got to the theater. The theater was sold out. Walter Mason was so nice, he got me a folding chair and put it in front of a beam that was about 10 rows up from the stage at Sammy Davis. I think this was at the Mill Run Theater in Chicago. And I got to watch Sammy's show. I mean, they were just so nice to me. I just could not believe it. Okay. Then I went back to the hotel room and I left the next morning. This is 1975. This is 23 years ago, and I still remember. I will attempt to supply you background information and summarize our meeting in writing in proper sequential order of the various areas that we discussed. Okay, remember, I always had a plan, and I was going by what I had written down before we met with him. I explained my Safety Town background to him. I explained in 1973 I was looking for a national backer, and that's how I heard about the Highway Safety Foundation. You have to remember, he didn't know anything about this. He knew the Highway Safety Foundation folded, but he didn't know anything about it. And I wanted to make sure he knew that I in no way was involved with their decision-making to fold up the organization. Okay. And, okay, let me see here. I talk a little about Dick Wayman in there, and I tried to explain to him that I always defended Dick Wayman because I thought he was such a sincere man in safety. Okay, then I had a talk about the meeting with Will Sachs, and that my arrangement with the Highway Safety Department in 73 and 74. And during the 10-month period from July 73 until April 74, I worked diligently. I have that in capital letters and underscored because that's what I did. Around the clock promoting Highway Safety Foundation and the telethon. And my out-of-state travel expense was absorbed by HSF. He had to know that. Then I worked many months on Safety Town appeals for the telethon, writing all the thing, working with Norman Gimbel and Beverly Roberts and Stan Fields. And then I outlined, here are the few appeals that I had. Our friend Clancy, working with the real policeman or with Sammy Davis Jr., and had arranged with Stan Fields to have a safety town actually on stage with children, interviewing children and all that. In October, John Butler was going to send me to New York and met with Beverly Roberts and all that. Okay, on April 1st, John Butler informed me the telethon was canceled. During the first 2 weeks of April, because of my uncertainties, I contacted my attorneys for advice. It was then, after several meetings with my attorneys, my husband and myself, that we decided to form a nonprofit organization known as National Safety Town Center. In the fall of '73, I completed writing 6 books, which took me 6 years to complete. Now, much discussion centered around the Highway Safety Foundation not giving anything back to each community in return for the public financial support. And that goes on with that. Shortly after the telethon was canceled, Beverly Roberts called me and asked if I would like June 8th and 9th as those telethon dates, as I mentioned before. In May and June of 1974, I began contacting businesses and industries for contributions, sending proposals to foundations. Some of the stories I heard were unbelievable. Then 2 things happened which hurt us tremendously. The Cleveland Press story about the Highway Safety Foundation in July said we had a signed year's lease, and we had just signed a year's lease office space in the Cleveland Terminal Tower. The Cleveland Press story about the Highway Safety Foundation was not complimentary. A safety paper, the Safety Journal, printed in South Carolina, wrote an article stating that Safety Town had a telethon in '73, and after reading that article, I'm sure we'll agree that not only was it incorrect, but it was personally damaging to me, indicating that I had $1 million spent and we had no records, and that was not me. It was a Highway Safety Foundation, and we were not even a part of the telethon in '73. So that was a big, big legal thing. If you can imagine those 2 things hitting the Cleveland paper when I just signed a year's lease in the Terminal Tower, and I was just setting out proposals to corporations and foundations for money, and this hits the newspaper. Can you understand why now these people did not want to have anything to do with us? I can't blame them. Now I can't blame them, but not at the time. Okay, Walter, I don't know if you and Sammy, Dick, and others realize the Highway Safety Foundation was not really respected by other safety organizations. In that it was not, because it was a small organization. It was not like the AAA or the National Safety Council or Highway Users Federation. So it was not, they just were not doing, I guess, the things to get in the public eye. And that's why they were so excited when they were excited at the Highway Safety Foundation when they found out I was involved with the National Safety Council, that I had served on some of the committees, educational committee, school and college section, and was the liaison for the state of Ohio for the National Safety Council. And we thought we would mesh these 2 working together type things. Okay. Let's see. Anyway, after John Butler took over to executive president, and Vince Toffney, president of the National Safety Council, had also taken over, I, at that time, suggested to John to write to Vince and arrange a meeting to discuss various aspects. Since they were both new, the past could be forgotten and a new start could be made. Well, at first, John wasn't very receptive. When I finally wrote a letter for him, he sent it within a few days. Vince replied, and a meeting was arranged in Chicago. Dick Wayman, John Butler, and I went representing Highway Safety Foundation. At that meeting, I sat here, I'll never forget, I sat here, Dick Wayman sat here, and John Butler sat here, and I could see these 2 men's knees were just knocking under this table because there were, 15, 16 men around this table from the National Safety Council. Vince Toffney and Matty Cueva and Fred Potenza and Gene Miller. All these people were just sort of glaring at us. So, and there I was, the only woman, explaining all this to them. But so it was. No wonder my voice is going now because I did so much talking then. Okay, it was a cordial meeting, and we talked about working together with them, and nothing really came of it because the Highway Safety Foundation folded. I think it might have worked together if we could have worked on the telethon. Okay, my next problem came when an organization known as the Veteran Safety claimed that they had a trademark on Safety Town. However, they did not make application until 1975. Some 73, I think it is. It's an overstrike here. Some 34, let's see, would have to be if it was 34 years after it originated. Originated in 1937. 37 and 34, that doesn't sound right either, but okay, plus they applied incorrectly. I had asked them to check on the copyright because other organizations were questioning. Remember, this is way back in 1969 when the JC man from Canton asked if the program had been trademarked, because I think the JCs were thinking of trademarking it. Okay, well, those are some of the problems that I have been confronted with during the past year, just for a year. Our program is just in its baby stage, but growing rapidly and so forth. Here are a few ideas of bringing money into the center to make it self-sustaining. Selling t-shirts for the teens, toys, games, card, coloring books, films, guidebooks, and just all kinds. The Cleveland chapter of the American Red Cross have volunteered to sew our safety toys. We were going to make stuffed toys, all kinds of things on this forum. One area that I felt might be a first anywhere and would certainly erase once and for all any negative comment that Sammy was not interested in safety is for Sammy to do a half-hour safety special with these preschoolers and teenagers. I get so enthusiastic every time I think of all these possibilities. But I thought it would have been great for Sammy to do with his singing, you know, the Candyman song and doing all these things. It would have been great for him to do this. Lots of ideas. I had tons and tons of ideas. There's a possibility of even having the Safety Town float in the Rose Parade. I was contacted by someone out in California about doing this. I made sketches of all this. We were going to have, it was going to be a large oval. The lower one was going to be the kids driving around in the cars just going one way. The second oval was going to be a little bit smaller. We were going to have, on the first one we were going to have a few teens with it. On the second one we were going to have a few houses, and I thought there was a third tier that was just going to have Safety Town and the information on it, or have Sammy on the top tier, right? That's what it was. So we had all those plans done. A special Safety Town cart for Sammy can be built to use at the opening day of Safety Towns if you wanted to participate. Another way of financial support is 25 cents per child being sent to the center, just like any other membership fee, which we probably should have stayed with. Two big future plans that will make tremendous news, especially in the safety education field, are my 10-year study of Safety Towns and my preschool bicycle survey. Both are well underway, except I must spend my time now trying to solicit funds rather than working and continuing my research. I would have, as I mentioned before, if I would have only had time to work on doing a lot of papers, I would have several hundred papers written on each topic like this and do research. Just didn't have the time or the money. Again, Walter, I can go on and on, but if I don't stop, you'll never get this letter. In closing, may I say that many people have asked me why I'm not very bitter with everyone familiar with Highway Safety Foundation for causing me all these problems. I guess deep inside I always believed and trusted Dick and Sammy for their concern and interest in safety and people. In fact, several people that I've mentioned of writing to Sammy have felt very positive that Sammy, after knowing all the facts, would definitely want to become involved in helping. Okay, a big concern to me is getting the program into the inner city. We had not, all of our programs were out in the suburbs, and we thought they could help us, give us some funding to do that as well. Okay, just going real through, just skimming this. Please, Walter, meet with Sammy and Dick and discuss this and explain our personal meeting to them. I will be happy to meet anywhere, anytime to discuss anything, so we can keep the ball rolling. Okay? Now, that was, what did I say? That was March 21st. And Now this is April 19th, 1975, almost a month later. Dear Mr. Walter Mason, here it is, almost 1 month since I started to write the original letter and prepare this booklet. I am indeed sorry for the delay, but traveling my hectic schedule. So because I had to get all the Xerox copies of the people's letters from New York. Again, I put together, this was a nice big book. One of the spiral bound, not spiral bound, 3-ring notebooks that I put with tabs. We had all kinds of tabs in it. Again, didn't make pictures of it, but I finally sent them after writing March 21st. It took me a month. We finally sent it in April 21st. Or April 19th, I'm sorry. Okay, now this is, should I read this one? Oh, see, now this is out of order, but we'll get it in order when we do the splicing. This is March 21st, 1975. Dick Wayman. Dear Dick, would you believe I finally met with Walter Mason? This is after I met with him in Chicago. Okay? I can't remember the exact date in Chicago, but it had to be just a few days before March 21st. Here's how it came about. About 3 weeks ago, while flying the friendly skies of United, I read in the Mainliner magazine that Sammy Davis was going to be in Chicago Mill Run Theater from March 10th through the 20th. There's all my answers. Well, immediately my thinking wheels went into action, and upon my return home, I called the Mill Run Theater and left a word for Walter to call me. 2 days later, I was so very pleasantly surprised when he returned my call, and we arranged a meeting for Tuesday, March 18th. Dick, I think you know of my many attempts in the past to get you and Walter together. And while I was indeed very unhappy that you were not able to be in Chicago, I was very happy to have the opportunity of explaining Safety Town to Walter. However, I still feel it is imperative for the three of us to have a meeting. There's just so many aspects of Safety Town, the Highway Safety Foundation, and the telethon, and on, that both of us, that all of us should sit down and discuss before any decision is made. I am putting together a booklet and letter which I will send to you within the next few days, which I feel will be of tremendous assistance in informing you. I honestly feel, Dick, that communication, that is, lack of it, was one of the major reasons the Highway Safety Foundation encountered many of its problems. And sincerely, and since I have a very extensive background in public relations and publicity, communication is among my top priorities with our organization. When you and I first discussed our getting together, I mentioned my financial problem to you and asked if you could pay my travel expenses for our meeting. You were generously, as you always have, replied yes. My plane fare to Chicago was $80.74, which I had to borrow from a friend, on the condition I would return it to her as soon as possible. Needless to say, I would greatly appreciate your forwarding me a check just as soon as you can, so I can maintain my very good relationship with my friend. I think my friend was my mother at that time. Or